recording. All right, Kansas City, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we had technical difficulties, but we are back. And we are, we left off, talking about Kansas City businesses and also, the connection to the Chiefs and, what that means to Andy, and Cuento Coffee. And so I'll let, Andy continue here and, we'll get further into this discussion.
Awesome. I don't know if it went up to Sean Mack 515 crew, my tailgating crew. Just wanted to make sure that went through. But I just love how, and I don't think that a lot of other NFL teams have it on the level that we do. These fans come together in such a way. 30,000 people tailgating. I think I know they're Los Angeles. Just been through a lot.
You're breaking up a lot, Andy. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm not sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just love how Chiefs fans come together at the tailgate. We're all kind of family. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what's wrong with the connection. We're having all kinds of problems right now for some reason. Are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on, but it seems to be you seem to be breaking up quite a bit.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
I'm switching to a different Wi-Fi feed. Let me see if that works better.
Well, you're sounding great right now. You're sounding great right now, yes.
Okay. I love how Chiefs fans come together is what I was saying, and I think that right now, getting out and supporting your local business is kind of like that. It's kind of like caring about your community and high-fiving a row full of strangers, and maybe you don't know Chris Myers or Michael Crane or Tyler Harp or me, but if you've had our product, then I think that you really know a part of who we are as people.
Right.
Because we put everything we have into our products.
And I couldn't agree more. As a small business owner myself here with KC Kingdom Radio, it's the same. Our business model is the same. We're both small businesses here, and we really, what we do is our passion, and so it's not work to us, but in the same respect, like you're saying, it's being respected for that and having customers come in and purchase your product and, understanding that this is how you make a living and that this is, like you said, who you are, and every person in that building, has that same outlook, and that's why you all thrive together. And it's really important for the public to understand that. So.
And we've had some really incredible response from everybody, to put it in a positive light as well. The first weekend, everybody was coming out and buying stuff, and a lot of them were just buying it because it was local. I don't even know if some of them necessarily needed beer. They just wanted to get out and support the community. So it's this hard time kind of brings out the best in people as much as it brings out the worst in people.
Yes, and you are right about that, and it's nice. It really is. How Kansas City is. It's it's a bigger city with a small community feeling, and one way or another, it seems like everybody is tied together. But it's close knit. So it's not a surprise to me that local businesses are coming together. But it's just, with what you're doing, within that building, with Crane Brewing and all the other companies, it's special in a way. And, that proves a lot to a lot of businesses and shows them that, hey, coming together, regardless where your location is and who you are and, what your background is. I know it's different because you all are in the same location, but just the camaraderie behind that, it takes stepping out of your comfort zone and reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I feel like that we can profit if we move in this direction, and just jumping on it because things are changing minute by minute. So,
Absolutely. And you know, if you're a person out there that drinks coffee or you enjoy coffee and maybe you're open-minded to trying locally roasted, fresh roasted coffee that is imported, and we have importers that have relationships with the farmers. And I mean, it does cost a little bit more than your Folgers or whatever you're going to get in the grocery store. We would absolutely love to have you come out and open your mind to a different level of coffee for sure.
and so, the signature coffees, that you offer, I'm a fan of coffee. So for me, I enjoy, a great cup of coffee as much as I enjoy a great beer. So, for me, that's and if I travel a lot, and I've talked to you about that before you came on. I travel a lot, but for me, if I was in that area all the time, and when I'm in that area, I'll definitely stop by. But if I was in that area all the time, I'd be in that establishment, once, twice, 3 times a week, probably more, maybe once, twice a day. So it's one of those things that you're still a small business owner, no matter what establishment you're in Raytown, Missouri. And what it takes is the community gathering around you, and that whole establishment, and, remembering, this place is still an option. This is still a place where we can go get coffee, beer. What else did you say was in this establishment?
We have wine from Aubrey Vineyards, which is local. We have liquors from several different distilleries around town, including Tomstown, Rieger, Union Horse, Mean Mule is one of them that we carry as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have our coffee and all of the Crane beers. Right now we also have a beer called Rockin' Tour that's a coffee beer, so if you wanted the best of both worlds, you could grab a 6-pack of that as well.
I'll tell you what, if you have not tried the coffee beer, I'm a fan of it, and it takes a special type of drink for me to like it outside of a beer or a mixed drink, because I'm rather picky drinker. I'm not really a seltzer or spritzer type of person or anything like that. So, but I will say that those drinks in general, I was surprised by, how much I liked it, and also the alcohol content. So, no, go ahead. What did you have something?
And that beer actually sponsors an organization called Hope for the Day that's based out of Chicago. My brother-in-law is actually involved with them. So we teamed up with them, and a portion of the proceeds goes towards the organization, which supports mental health education and suicide awareness. And their slogan is, "It's okay not to be okay." So you'll find their logo on the can as well. And we would love for you to check out their website, hftb.org. They are doing a lot of heavy work right now, as this has been a very mentally straining time on people. I think mental health is definitely in a crisis.
Absolutely.
With these situations going on, and a lot of people's lives that have been really well organized have been turned upside down, and I think it's exposing a lot of the stress and anxiety that we carry around on a daily basis. And I just want to encourage everybody that if you need to get out there and talk to somebody, you can even just send me a message at cuentocoffee@gmail.com, or you can text 741-741 if you're going through a mental health crisis. I've texted that line myself. I wasn't necessarily suicidal, but I was just having a really bad night, needed somebody to talk to. I texted 741-741. I got an immediate response. Got to talk about what I'm going through with somebody. And that was just in the last month. So I just want to encourage everybody to, if you need somebody to talk to, reach out.
Hey, and I love, the honesty, because look, these are times that we've never faced in our lives, and changes to everybody's schedule, everything that you've worked for your entire life. And I can relate, as a person like myself, and Andy, I'm sure that you experience this as well. I'm a busybody. I'm not a person to really sit around. When there's opportunities, I like to take them. And right now, I feel like I'm dormant. Like I'm sitting stagnant, and I'm just waiting for a regulation to be lifted, and it's hindering my mental state.
I'm an extrovert. I'm the guy that's bouncing around the tailgate, hugging everybody, telling everybody how much I love them,
Right.
going out to bars, and this time has just been so hard on me. And, it's really great when I get to work all day, and that takes my mind off of things, but I told my friend, the beast comes out at night when I get home, and, that anxiety, and start looking back at your life and questioning some of the things that you did or the decisions that you made. And I think that it's just, we need to really get the message out there that it's okay not to it's okay to be going through a crisis right now. I mean,
Right.
you're not alone. Like, so many people are.
Right. And you're absolutely right. It's I like how you're touching base on the mental awareness, because this is a huge factor. I don't think that it's brought to the table enough. Regardless of what part of the community you're in, a business owner, a consumer, it's affecting everyone. And
Oh yeah, suicide has become like cancer. I mean, everybody knows somebody that it's affected.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and we don't want to say that word, because it's pretty triggering to talk about it. But
right, but it is a valid point.
It's opportunity with you to get this information out there.
And look, and this is a great time. This is your time to be a voice and have an impact in the community, as well as for your business. It's okay to be. Well, look, you're a selfless person, but this is your time to really represent yourself and say whatever you like and how you feel about things, because you are a business owner, in greater Kansas City, and this is impacting you greatly. And look, the great thing about KC Kingdom Radio is, yes, we are ultimately a Chiefs podcast, but the audience that we're reaching right now is the consumers. And so this is why I really think that this is important, for anyone who comes on, is because you're reaching the base of your product, I guess. And to make things clear, you all are the closest brewery, bar, or anything to Arrowhead Stadium, correct?
Yep, we're the closest brewery and the closest coffee roaster for sure.
Okay, so all right, and just go ahead and give the audience your address and your details here. Go ahead and get it out there, because that's an important factor as well. For people to come to your location, it's nice for them to have a head start and know exactly where you're at.
Awesome. So Crane, Cuento Coffee, Heart Barbecue, and Wilma's are all tucked right off of downtown Raytown on 6515 Railroad Street. It's kind of tucked back behind Shamrock Cabinets in an industrial area.
Okay.
It's an old warehouse that we've kind of turned into a brewery and now also a coffee roaster.
Mm-hmm.
So we would love to have you come down there. You can also go on my website, cuentokc.com, and that's CUENTOKC.com. And at the top, there's a link to order curbside, where you can order Crane beer, you can throw some coffee onto your order, you can throw some of that wine or liquor on there, and then we can have it all ready for you as soon as you show up. You pull up in your car. If you don't feel comfortable getting out, we'd love to bring it out to you. And if you'd like to come in, we can meet you at the door and we can drop it off to you ready to go. So I think a lot of us have, none of us like the situation we're in, but it's been really beautiful just to see the creativity that it's brought out of all of us.
Right.
And there's just kind of there's a silver lining, because I think that this is really opening people's eyes to local business and things like that. And I just hope that we all can get out of it pretty soon, because I'd love to go to a Royals game.
Hey, and that's been a tough thing, for everyone, a tough pill for everyone to swallow there in Kansas City, because regardless if you're a Chiefs fan or not, in one way, shape, or form, you're just a fan of all sports in the Kansas City area. And Kauffman is, just as amazing as a venue as Arrowhead. And so, yes, it's hard to know that there is no baseball, and, there's no chance for anyone to go to Kauffman and enjoy, a baseball game right now. And it's tough to sit here on our hands.
There's so many things we take for granted, man. I think about movie theaters. Like, I don't know if they will even exist after this.
Right. And they're taking a tough hit.
And also, as much as I'm promoting small business, remember that even some of the larger businesses, for example, AMC headquarters is in Kansas City, and they're a massive chain.
Right.
But there are thousands of people that are employed by them that have staked their careers with this company that might not have a job at the end of this. And at the end of the day, I am just so thankful for the customers that we do have, and I just to spin it back around, I want to just encourage you to try a new product, try something you haven't had before. Maybe even if you don't think that you haven't liked coffee, give it another shot.
Right. And look, and it's also, being aware of your social media, because obviously there's promotions and different posts, about products and stuff, and it's more of more or less a reminder, hey, we're here and come on in, and this is what we have to offer. So, if you want to share your social media as well, I think that would be beneficial to the audience, especially in a time like this, because realistically, what else are Americans doing at this point? Because, let's be honest, it's kind of addictive, and when you're sitting on the couch, heck, there might as well scroll through the old news feed,
Absolutely. You can find us on Facebook under Cuento Coffee. That's Cuento. It's the Spanish word for story. So our slogan is every coffee is a story. You can also find us on Instagram, and that's at Cuento, Cuento Coffee. Those are the two big ones I use. I'm not really a big tweeter. Nobody's really sending out Twitter messages about coffee, so.
Right. And just taking advantage of marketing tools and not using ones that aren't so beneficial. Time is money, right?
One other thing that I can tell you about is our subscription service is on our website under the tab Local Delivery. If you live within 15 miles of Crane Brewery out in Raytown, which actually reaches all the way through Midtown, Waldo, parts of downtown, or even in the Circle, we will deliver to you. It's a subscription service with a recurring payment, but it helps keep our business stimulated, or at least subsidized during this time, and you get great coffee delivered to your doorstep. And one of the cool things that we were able to do, as I mentioned earlier, was employing a laid-off barista named Caleb. So it also just gives him more work to do, allows him to get more hours, and it supports him as well.
Hey, if you're a coffee person, I mean, what better way to start the day than have coffee delivered to your doorstep? And look, this is local. This is made local. This is local coffee. This isn't something just shipped in, from a bigger dispenser, whatever you want to call it. But this is local, and you need to support that, Kansas City. This is a bigger scenario than most realize, and it's going to take teamwork and realizing, and have an awareness of the situation with these small businesses, to really grasp what's going on. So get in there. I really want you all to support, Crane Brewing and Cuento Coffee and any other local business. I don't want to single any business out necessarily, but in the same respect, I will give you this, and I do want to say this. It takes a certain person to be able to come on a live broadcast and talk about their business and talk about, the setbacks that are happening due to the coronavirus, and give their opinion. So I do want to say thank you for that, Andy and Chris. I hope Chris listens to this as well. But it's your input is one of a kind, because you are a business owner in Kansas City right now, and your input is bigger than any, because you are the economy. And let's keep things honest. You are the economy. So you are something that the people depend on. So in a time like this, they have to remember that you are your business, and you are someone that has to be kept in mind. Nothing changing other than it being delivered to your doorstep, which in my mind is more convenient. Am I wrong?
Absolutely, and I think that after this, I don't think life's going to go back to normal even after the stay-home order has been lifted.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to feel comfortable and know that, Caleb's wearing gloves, he's wearing a mask, we're delivering this safely, we're getting it to your doorstep. Coffee's pretty safe since you make it with really hot water compared to some other food products. But we want you to know that we're taking all the safety precautions we can right now to keep our product clean and safe. And that if you need coffee at home, you don't want to leave your house, you don't want to go to the grocery store and bump your cart into other people, we would absolutely love to deliver it to you, and you would be doing a great service to us by supporting our small business.
And that's really what it's about, Kansas City. I think that in this time is getting back to your roots and understanding that at the end of the day, these people are dependent on your service, to pay their bills and put food on their table. I think that goes overlooked when, see a platform like yours or Chris's or anyone else's who is established, and they don't think about the fact, they automatically think dollar signs, but it takes dollar signs all the time to maintain that. And 1 month alone of sitting stagnant can ruin a lot of businesses. And it's the awareness behind this. And I'm just happy that you came on and shared that.
Absolutely, man. I can say most of the small business owners I know are barely making a profit, to be honest.
Right.
Most of us are just in it, and we love the community, and it's just an awesome way to share what we love with other people. And especially you Chiefs fans out there, we have a Chiefs coffee bag that you can check out on our website. It has Jet Chip Wasp on it.
Nice. Hey, and also, I don't want to leave out the Champ Stamp, which a portion of that goes out to the 15 and the Homies Foundation. I believe that is a blonde ale. Am I correct?
Yes. Champ Stamp's not available right now, but it will be back once Chief season's about to start.
Okay.
And it supports 15 of my homies. You can also grab our Thunder Gong, which is a wheat ale, and it supports Jason Sudeikis' charity, Steps of Faith, which helps get homeless people into homes.
What I love is the fact of working with foundations. That's you reaching out to the community, saying, hey, we want to help the community, and now I think it's time for the community to reach back out and say, hey, we appreciate all that you've done. And it's time for us to understand the implications of what it means to continue to buy products from your company. And I think that right there, is the premise of everything that we're talking about today. because your business model has taken a number of hits. I'm sure, sitting in your position, or a lot of businesses like yours, you're just watching one hit after another, and it was just a domino effect that you were sitting on your hands helpless, and the only thing that you could do was react. That's the only scenario that would keep things moving, was for you to alter your thoughts and your business model, and that was the most important thing that you could do. And so, like I had said with on Chris's episode, was innovation is the most important tool right now. That's it. Innovation right now, it shows where you stack up in businesses like yours. And so if there's any I guess wisdom that you could give to other small businesses right now, or anything you want to share, please take this time to do that, because the floor is yours. And even concerns, whatever you have on your chest that you need to get off, or anything, the time's yours.
I just definitely think this is a time for togetherness. You get on Facebook and a lot of people are calling people out or accusing people of being unsafe. And I really think that most people are good, and that most people are just trying to do the best that they can right now.
Right.
Not that I'm probably doing other things or touching people. But this is a time for us to be together, man. And, if there's information that I can give you as a coffee shop owner that would help you in this situation, it's just to be open-minded and try things that you never thought you would try before.
Right.
And it's to communicate with other people. I've basically been in constant communication with Chris, and I think that iron sharpens iron, and that, he comes up with part of an idea, or I come up with part of an idea, and then he comes up with an even better way to make that happen. And they've been able to keep all the employees around at Crane and start getting them back to work here pretty soon. So we're just all pretty dependent on your continued support. And just remember that as much as business is competitive, it's competitive because it brings the good out of people, not because it brings the negative things out of people.
Very true.
We want to make a better product because we're in a competitive environment.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we're anti-people. We're all about supporting people and supporting other people around the beverage community. Every single time somebody comes in, it's just the conversation has changed a little bit from, hey man, what's up, to, hey, are you doing all right? Actually caring about how people are doing, and just realizing how heavy this has been on everybody.
It's absolutely taken a toll on everyone's life, the economy, in every way possible. As much as down to watching sports. No sports right now. It's a nightmare. I know for Kansas City, we look for our sports. That's something that's an everyday part of our life, and just like business, I think I personally am just as passionate about the Chiefs as I am my business, and obviously part of my business is covering the Chiefs. But in the same respect, I know the passion that lies within the fans there in the community, and I think that that's as high as even owning a business.
I just think the Chiefs allow us to become friends with people that we may have never even thought about being friends with.
Very true. Very true.
And then it goes from talking about the Chiefs to, hey, how's your family?
Yes.
Is everything going good? How's it going? Like I was saying about my tailgate crew, I would die for most of those people, but they're from Iowa. I met them randomly at a giant Chiefs house party, and I watched the Super Bowl with them, and we all cried together. The Chiefs is an amazing thing of bringing people together that normally wouldn't have ever come together,
Absolutely. I have, in one way, shape, or form, shared plenty of moments with multiple Chiefs fans, throughout the kingdom, whether it be on the road or at a Chiefs game, or doing a live show, at venues across Kansas City, and the passion that lies within the kingdom, and I'm born and raised in Kansas City myself. It's one of a kind, and it's a passion that we all share, and it has brought. Look, we'll get down to the basics here. That's what brought you and I together today, to be doing this broadcast, for small businesses facing the coronavirus. It was solely the Kansas City Chiefs. And excuse this loud noise behind us. I'm really sorry. I had to switch rooms and a loud bike or something went by. I really apologize for that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling low, you can just repeat the same mantra that I've been repeating to myself. Mm-hmm. We won the Super Bowl.
We won the Super Bowl. Exactly. And
there's magical power in those words, so just speak them over yourself.
Yes, and then
maybe one day I'll actually believe that it was real and it actually happened.
Hey, I'm still in dreamland, and I can't help but watch the Super Bowl over and over and over again, and wonder where we're going to be. I'm not even wondering where we're going to be this coming up season. I started my broadcast and my podcast the day that Alex Smith was traded. So
awesome.
So my coverage of Patrick Mahomes, has, it's been nonstop, and it's been a pleasure, and it's been really nice to see a team like Kansas City thrive, and what Brett Veach has done within the organization, and our direction as far as the depth chart and the draft coming up. And look, I know that we're on here to talk about your business, Andy, and we have, you had mentioned interest in talking about the Chiefs, and I feel like that's a great way to wrap up, our broadcast this evening, solely because, like you said, look, that's what you enjoyed. This is our passion in Kansas City, and the draft is coming up.
I think it's a great distraction. We can't spend all day just thinking about coronavirus, or we're going to drive ourselves crazy. And being able to talk about the Chiefs and feel like sports is actually going on. It's like that commercial where that guy's riding in the car with his dad, and he's like having a hard time starting a conversation. And then, how about those Bears? Or I think it was the Bears. And he's like, oh man, they're good this year. And then he's like, I love you, son. Your mom says hello.
Yes. And sports is an important part of our lives. So, and with that all being said, let's go ahead and talk about the draft, because you had mentioned, a few names that you would love to see the Chiefs draft, and your view is really good as far as what the Chiefs depth is, within the organization. So, starting with the first round, what do you think's going on there?
I have a pick that I would love. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I truly doubt it will. But one of my favorite Chiefs ever is Derek Johnson, and I just feel like we haven't really had a linebacker that is as dynamic as he was.
Right.
No offense to our middle linebackers who just won a Super Bowl, but I would love Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma, or maybe even Patrick Queen from LSU if they happen to fall down the board somehow.
Right.
To us. I think scoring up the middle is only going to make our cornerbacks and safeties have less work to do.
Yes, and that those two guys that you mentioned are honestly who Brett Veach is drooling over right now, and praying that he can maneuver a way to make that happen for the Chiefs. I'm right there with you, and I think the rest of Chiefs Kingdom is, you couldn't ask for a more solid round one than the obvious a linebacker, and if not, let's go to the backup. Let's go to the backup tank real quick, and would you take a cornerback in the first round if either of those guys fell?
Cornerbacks are going to start coming off the board pretty quick towards the end of the first round, so I think that'd be a really smart pick. There's Christian Fulton from LSU.
Yes, that's my
I
guy.
think his name's Terrell or Tavon Diggs. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Tavon Diggs.
Yes.
From Alabama. And then there's a guy named TJ something from Clemson.
Oh yeah, and I can't either, but I know who you're talking about. There's some some high caliber names on the board, but
any of those three cornerbacks would be dominant. I think there's some really. This is a great year to draft a cornerback.
Yes, and just like wide receivers, which is, I feel like that, deeper in the draft, you probably go, somewhere in those lines solely because this is one of the most impressive wide receiver drafts in a long time.
Wide receivers have been strange. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Last year they were saying DK Metcalf would go 17th in the draft, and he dropped promptly to the third round.
Right.
He was a rookie of the year.
Yeah. And so there's talent all the way through the draft. So, as somebody who analyzes the Chiefs, I'm the first one to say I'm not a person who would take the best talent on the board. I'm the person who takes, the pieces that I need for my depth chart and my system. And so regardless if the Chiefs have the 32nd pick, they need to go after what they need. And I'm a firm believer in Brett Veach and his system, and have no doubt that's exactly what he's going to do. But there's a lot of Chiefs fans out there that will lean more towards the direction of taking the best talent on the board at the 32nd position.
Now, if we're going to do that, then there's two really good running backs that are going to be sitting there that we could grab that,
right,
honestly, in any other draft probably would have gone earlier if it wasn't so heavy on cornerbacks and wide receivers. And there's a lot of offensive line in there, too.
In the same respect, that would have been an option for the Chiefs any season but this season. And so, I feel like that's something that's, going to fall by the wayside solely because there's so many other key positions that we need, the Chiefs need to address.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I saw all these mock drafts saying we're going to get an edge rusher or a safety. I mean, those are the last two positions that we need to fill right now.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Let's get a cornerback. Lock up this defense. Or, I mean, if one of those linebackers is there and we can get a dynamic linebacker that's going to be able to step right in and play, I mean, that can win you a Super Bowl.
Yes, and the defensive line is the Chiefs' last concern on defense at this point, which is a great scenario to have because it obviously has highly impacted the results of the season last year. So there is a positive note for the Chiefs' defense, and there's a few things that need to be addressed. And so as the Chiefs fall, as the draft goes on and the Chiefs get into the fourth and fifth round. What are your thoughts or your sights as far as picks? Because this is where you'd have to get crafty. This is where Brett Veach does his work and gets. Go ahead.
Maybe guard, getting somebody in there that can block for Pat.
Right.
Because we're about to give them a lot of money.
Some interior offensive line. I couldn't agree more. That's a big position. Center, we have no backup center right now. The Chiefs are the depth chart is sitting with nothing behind our starting center.
Maybe we find a tight end that can come in and be just another option to stretch the field with. One thing I do like about Brett Veach is he's going to look for spark players that have insane athletic ability that are going to be able to be a part of this speed kills offense that we have going on. So I mean,
right.
If there's a tight end in there that's got top tier speed, but maybe he needs to work on his hands a little bit, why not try that out as a project?
And that's one of those things that at this point, after holes are filled, then Brett Veach can play around a little bit. And I'm a huge fan of finding a utility player, on offense and on defense. With that 4th and 5th round pick, and then
I mean, anybody who wants to say that these second tier players that don't start don't matter, we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without Daniel Sorensen. I mean,
but in the same respect, Travis Kelce, he was the 63rd pick in the 2016 or 15 draft. Tyreek Hill. There's a lot across the board that the Chiefs have within their depth chart that was, picked late in the draft. Who's that?
Chris Jones.
Yes, Chris Jones. I mean, there's a lot of depth within, the Chiefs organization that has been pulled out of the later rounds. So, yeah, they are extremely important. It's fun to watch the draft now because, I feel like as an organization, the Chiefs have gone a different direction. And really keen in on where players sit in the depth chart and how they are in the locker room, and I feel like there's a checklist that Brett Veach goes down for each player, and you have to meet this certain criteria, and it's shown as far as the quality that the Chiefs have pulled out of the draft, and he is more or less a genius in his craft, and I enjoy watching Brett Veach at work with the NFL draft, and I don't look for that to change.
I think for the first time in a long time, we're just adding pieces, honestly, and it feels really good. If I was a Broncos fan, I would be miserable if I was a Broncos fan, but if I was a Broncos fan, I would hate the Chiefs right now. I mean,
absolutely. And
we're just adding on another piece to an already championship caliber team.
Yes, and I want to touch base on that real quick. Drew Lock, is a product of University of Missouri, and before that, he was a graduate of Kansas City. He was a high school graduate and grew up in Kansas City. Do you know what school he went to? Was it Shawnee Mission North?
I think he was from Lee Summit, wasn't he?
I think you are right. You are right.
He lived 15 miles from the stadium, 10 miles from the stadium. I mean, I just can't imagine what it's like the first time he walked out to play the Chiefs in a Broncos jersey.
I'd thought about that as well.
He's professional, but there has to be a little part of him that it just killed his soul.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it had to have. And yeah, I can't imagine that feeling. And I just had in my gut feeling that he wouldn't win that game. For that sole reason. But with him, I just want to touch base on this real quick, and we are running out of time. Unfortunately, I'm running out of battery life due to the power issue that I had. But I think that... I'm sorry, I lost my whole train of thought.
Drew Lock.
Yes, I think that the Chiefs have his number, because the entire time that he was... doing his thing at University of Missouri and in high school, Andy Reid was the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think that the Chiefs did not have an eye on this kid, because he was so far underneath the Chiefs' magnifying glass as far as location. I feel like the Chiefs probably have more video and footage and knowledge of Drew Lock than any other team in the league, and it's just funny that he went to the Broncos, because this is just a scenario that I feel like the Chiefs are going to own the Broncos as long as he's the starting quarterback.
Man, I think, I just think the psychological edge is always going to be there. I just think of myself, if I ended up becoming an NFL quarterback and had to be a Raider or a Bronco.
Yeah.
My friend thinks I'm full of crap. I think that he definitely has thought about it, and it definitely went through his head.
Oh, absolutely. It's had to have. I mean, it's as much passion as all fans have for the Chiefs, and growing up in Kansas City, and you know how it is. There's no way that was an easy pill for him to swallow.
We have just owned the AFC West, man. It's been unbelievable.
It's been a great run.
Honestly, I'm a Chiefs fan, so I've always been super negative. I'm just waiting for them to do something that's going to break my heart. Even this year when we were down 24-0 and I was at that game, I was becoming the most pessimistic person ever. I was like, here we go, of course.
Right. But it's hard not to, because what was our famous saying in the 90s? There's always next year.
Yeah. Not anymore.
No, that's over with, isn't it? Finally, that's over with. And so, look, I want to lead us to our last topic here before we hop off. What are your expectations for this upcoming season? Because the pieces, 22 of 24 starters brought back in this scenario. What are your expectations for the Chiefs this coming up season? As pessimistic as you say that you are, I have a feeling that there is going to be an optimistic outlook as far as the 2020 season is concerned.
I think that, like, every negative piece of energy that I've ever had, whether it's Alex Smith or Scott Pioli or Marty Schottenheimer, losing to the Colts over and over again, losing a no-punt game,
right,
losing a holding call, having my best friend fly in from Seattle to go to the Patriots AFC Championship game with me.
I was there.
And getting screwed.
Yes, I was there. The coldest game I've ever been to in my life.
Absolutely, man.
Hey, tell me you weren't
Tell
sitting there at the end of the fourth quarter going into overtime thinking, wow, I've got to sit through possibly 15 more. You know, like, my thought in my head was like, I can't believe this is happening. And I was so cold that as much as I wanted the Chiefs to win and go to the Super Bowl, I wanted that game to be over with.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, that Titans AFC Championship this game this year, I was freaking. I couldn't feel my legs by the end of it.
Oh, gosh. And it's
actually the Patriots game. My best friend jumped in my arms and said, we're going to the effing Super Bowl. And he was looking the opposite way of the field, and I was giving this big hug. I saw the flag on the field. And we talk about that to this day, that would have been the best day. We've been friends since 7th grade. That would have been the best day of our lives.
You know, I actually had a similar moment with a fan from Canada. His name is Dave, and he came down for the game.
Oh, are you talking about K-Dave?
Yep, K-Dave. So I went to the game with K-Dave and the fake Andy Reid, Noah Kaufman.
Awesome, I know all those guys.
Yes, so we went to the game together, and we had that moment as well. And I'll tell you what, we have talked about it to this day, and it really, that broke our hearts to feel that moment for just a second and to look on the field and have it ripped away.
That was probably the worst day in our life. And the day they won the Super Bowl was probably the best.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And something felt like the 2015 Royals when it came to the Chiefs this past season. You could just feel it. You knew no matter what. Look, Patrick Mahomes' knee was on the side of his leg halfway through the season, and he came back and brought the Kansas City Chiefs to a Super Bowl. And Super Bowl 54 champions we are, and hoping for a 2020 season. This is, you know, for me as well as Andy, I'm sure Chris as well. I know Chris isn't as involved in sports as you and I are, but that Super Bowl victory was sweet, and I don't think that taste will ever leave my mouth. And I'm hopeful for a repeat here. And even to make my point, as negative as I have, I'm one of the most pessimistic Chiefs fans, or I have been in my life, that you'll ever meet. Right.
Like, my friends, when they start getting hyped about the Chiefs, I'm like, they'll find a way to fuck it up, don't worry. I think we're going to win the Super Bowl again, to be honest. I think Patrick Mahomes erases all of that negative energy. He is I think that Michael Jordan's the greatest athlete I've ever seen with my own eyes, and we can talk about LeBron and whatever else, but I think Michael did things that are unexplainable.
Right.
Patrick, that feeling when I watch him, I can't even believe him. Like,
yes, he's on a whole other level, and it's not even close.
Absolutely,
it's not even close. So I'll tell you what, that really sounds like a great place to end this broadcast and this episode, because that's the man right now, and that's the captain of the ship, and all things go through Patrick Mahomes. And all the weapons have been brought back. So I'm with you as far as the Chiefs returning to a Super Bowl, and deep down in my heart, there's a certain level of comfort that it's just going to happen. So, with that, that's the best way to leave a show, to leave the audiences with a great feeling. So, Chris, Andy, for another great season, we look forward to. I hope that much, for your small business. Look, folks, this is important. This whole episode is about awareness, and we led into the Chiefs, but go to Cuento. Get online. Excuse me, it's hard for me to adjust the scenario. Get online, and get some Cuento Coffee. This is a scenario where these small businesses need your service and your business, and there's only a few ways for you to enjoy some craft coffees. And I will say this: coffee runs my life. Kansas City, I know most of you, coffee runs your life. Don't forget about our small businesses. It's more available than ever at your doorstep. You couldn't ask for a better service than that. Kansas City, I really appreciate you tuning in. Andy, I appreciate you coming on as well. This, like we've stated before, this is to raise awareness. And Andy, you've done a great job of really representing your business and the struggles that you're having, and being realistic and really letting people know where you're at. And I give you credit for that, because that's hard for a lot of people to do.
Absolutely, man. And just so everybody knows, the website is Cuento, CUENTOKC.com. And I really appreciate this, Ricky. Appreciate you having me on, and go Chiefs.
Hey, absolutely. Go Chiefs. And Kansas City, please keep your heads up. Support your local businesses, and we'll all make it out of this unscathed, as much as that is even an option right now. So I will leave you with that, Kansas City. Thank you for tuning in this evening. This is KC Kingdom Radio, and I am your host, Richard Smith, along with Andy Gallant, the owner of Cuento Coffee. So have a great night, Kansas City. We really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Radio, your go-to podcast for everything Kansas City Chiefs.